I,
Sorry.
but I asked him to look at that equivalent period of time and really look at our growth in terms of motor vehicle crashes, EMS calls, and total calls. I think we know that the majority of our calls are EMS, but it gives you some perspective on growth over time. And appreciate fire department sharing the specifics there. I'm not going to walk through all of the major milestones over that period of time. I think everybody has seen the history wall outside that really walks us through from 2019, the beginning of Vernon Township Fire Department, and 2020, the creation of the fire territory, all the way to we look at this year and the big elements, the addition of the whole blood program, which I know the chief's going to talk about more, to our capability to save for our first ladder truck, to really looking at, we are at nearly 2,000 runs, and so that big picture. We talked last meeting about receiving the growth appeal, and that will also allow us to add the staffing for the second ambulance. So, you know, those major milestones for fire. Then if you switch to the next page to township assistance, and you look at kind of a roller coaster on township assistance. We've talked about this in previous meetings as to what is really driving the increases. We know that as we see an increase in apartments, as we see an increase in senior living, that really feeds into those people who need the most assistance from us, the most vulnerable. As we look at kind of a decline in that 2021-22 area, I would just remind everybody that during COVID, Stacy did an incredible job working on the housing program and receiving monies from the state and from federal government. And so we were not spending all of our township assistance money. We were really partnering with other organizations because there were quite a few COVID monies there. So as we look at this increase, I give that caveat because I think it looks like there was a slump and there really wasn't. It's just monies came from different places. So we look what we look at now is 2019 76 assistance requests, and in 2025 197. This isn't huge for a township, but we are becoming our requests are growing pretty substantially. There are many townships that do more than 1,000 requests each year. But as far as Hancock County goes, this puts us right behind Greenfield in terms of the number of requests, just for some comparisons. Before I go on to any of the next pages, I do want to just note this handout, the Get to Know Your Township Trustee. And this is the items that townships are responsible for handling. And there are some additional items that aren't on here, things like noxious weeds, which I know you're all waiting desperately for us to do the noxious weed program. We get very few requests on noxious weeds. And we do send most of those to the county through the county weed board. But we have had a few that we've had to work on directly. So these are largely covered in those first few sections. I do want to bring this up on fire coverage just because I have been at the state legislature all day, which means I'm really tired and it's been quite the day. But it was interesting how many of our legislators do not realize that there are townships that manage fire for towns. They think it is always the other way around. And so we explained today that actually in our township, it's quite prevalent that the townships are managing fire for Cumberland, for New Pal, for McCourtsville and Fortville. And it happens in others. So I just bring it up because I think we take this for granted because it is the way we do it here. But I will tell you that there are many who don't understand that that is a thing. Section 4, as you know, we are in the new training room and we have later on, we're going to go through some of the programming for this space. And we're so very, very proud of the historic display. And again, I want to commend Stacy for her hard work on pulling that together. It was quite the labor that went into the creation of that. And I know this is repetitive of something I said earlier, but this was the promise that we made to the volunteer firefighters back in 2019 when we merged the volunteer departments and created the Township Fire Department. So it took us a while to get there, but I think it was worth waiting for. And you may have noted the library is using the adjacent room tonight and doing programs here. I know we've talked a lot about the library having some real challenges in terms of space for programming. And so we're excited to be actively working with them. The gardens of Vernon Township, the green page, I'm not going to go through all of these. We have an extensive gardening program and I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about some of the programs throughout the year.
Ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Back on section 3 for the township assistance, where you've got in 2026, we'll be expanding in-person service to McCourtsville Town Hall.
Yes.
How's that gonna happen?
So we are going to start out with just a few days a week. We have been working with Tim and Ryan on identifying space. We've gone through and identified which days of the week would work well. I'm glad you asked that question because we are now at the point where our number of requests from McCourtsville are pretty well equivalent to what they are in Fortville.
Okay.
The actual amount of money that we are supporting in McCourtsville is substantially more, and for obvious reasons,
Right.
Price of points are higher. So,
And the Angel Food Pantry is gone, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, this is the only support.
So we continue to work very closely. We have a contract with Farm, which is at Fortville Christian Church.
Okay.
They are the only food pantry in Vernon Township that has partnered with Gleaners. And I would at some point like our board to go over and meet there to really see the extent of what they're doing. Townships are not allowed to give donations, but we are allowed to contract for services. And we looked at having a more extensive food pantry here, but based on what Farm is able to do, it far outweighs anything we would be able to support. And they have done an excellent job recruiting volunteers and evolving their services, recovery and grief as well. It is at a church. With our funding, it is required to be a secular service that is provided. They cannot require anything in terms of going to the church or participating in church activities. And they are looking at building a separate facility because it has gotten so big, it's taking over large portions of the church. So,
Oh, really?
so thank you. That was a good question. And actually on the red page, community partnerships, it talks a little bit about that farm partnership. Through our community garden, we do provide fresh food to a farm, and our extension of our program with the junior gardener program, we had a lot of produce this year. And I need to sit down and like calculate what the value of that is, because we do need to include that in our reports. We also have our partnership with CASA in terms of creating the CASA care bags each year. And everyone will have the opportunity to participate in that. We start in August on that program for all children who have been removed from their homes because of abuse or neglect. And this year it was 170 kids. Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. We partner with the other townships and we partner with a large number of organizations. I should emphasize on those programs, we are not using taxpayer dollar. Those are donations, and we have an incredibly generous community for doing that. And then on the final page, just cemetery maintenance. As I was rushing to get here from the State House, just FYI, somebody hit our fence in McCordsville. And we did submit that. As you can imagine, trying to replace fencing when the ground is frozen is quite difficult. But we are working on that fix, and as soon as the ground will handle it, we will get that section fixed. We have no idea who hit it. Stacy checked with the police and there wasn't any indication of a report. So somebody's got a badly dented vehicle, but I do just, probably the biggest thing that happened on the cemeteries this year was we had a giant maple come down in the church, in the a cemetery here in Caudell Simmons in Fortville. And it is back on, what is that?
Southeast corner.
Yeah, the southeast corner, back behind the company that makes the
Thursday's pools.
It's a tough day for me, guys.
I've been doing a lot.
I'm like, water, you swim in it. It's gonna be a rough meeting. We have giant, and as you can see from the gentleman sitting in the saddle of the tree, you get a sense of just how big the tree was. It was over 60 feet tall, and we had to bring in cranes. So I mention this because as we go through our financial report, you will see that it was an expensive removal project. And then on the final page, the coming soon in 2026, we just talk about many of those things that I just covered. The growth appeal, the ladder truck coming, our township assistance hours at McCordsville, and then we will be doing a community health fair. Don't ask me when we're going to have time to do that, but we are going to do it. So, any questions on our year in review?
Well done. Looks good.
This is not a requirement, but I really like the idea of recapping the year because I think we do so much that sometimes it's easy to forget.
Next up, financials.
All right. So you've got in front of you these same documents that you get quarterly. This shows basically these are the different fund types, or the different funds, the main funds that we have here at Vernon Township. So the top fund is the general fund. So this is the general fund for the township. You can see that at the end of the year, we had a remaining balance of 223,361. Primarily that came from some capital outlays that we had really anticipated moving forward in 2025, but are now basically going to be moved to 2026. So that's why we are also, which we'll talk about, going to encumber $175,000 as well towards the purchase of the land for Station 433. So a lot of that money is really actually going to be captured in encumbrance for 2026. So we did have some encumbrances that we brought over from 2024, and those monies were spent on this project here, this renovation. Fund type down here is 0840.2 is township assistance. This one was interesting this year. This, we had to get an additional appropriation in November for this fund because we had spent more monies in township assistance than what we had budgeted. The number of requests went up. So we did have a lot more requests than what we had anticipated. We have adjusted the budget for next year, but I anticipate we may be looking at the same situation. The interesting thing about the township assistance fund is it can't be transferred to any other fund. So essentially, whatever money has been, in the cash balance can only be used towards that anyway. So we would rather use that money and assist those in need than hold on to it for no reason. So 8602 is the Special Fire Protection Territory General Fund. This is where you find the bulk of the budget for the township comes from. So as you can see, we had $748,800 remaining at the end of 2025. Again, when we get to the encumbrances, you'll notice that we're going to encumber pretty much all of that money, a lot of which still is the remaining balance to be paid for the Quint. We had encumbered 1.1 and some change over for the Quint. So we're going to pick up the remaining balance of that project, which is 1,708,908. So we'll talk about that, but overall, we did really well in terms of managing that budget. Special fire protection equipment, that is basically the payments for the existing engines and the ambulance. So are there any questions about that? All right, so the second report you have is the annual debt report. We call it debt. Technically, State Board of Accounts doesn't call any of this debt because it's actually leases, but this is how we're going to report it to you guys as debt, even though it's not classified that way technically. But you can see that obviously these are the four things, so that's the two engines at the top, the Spartan top mount pumpers. This is the 2023 Lifeline ambulance, the lease rental bond for the building here at Station 431, and then the lease rental bond for Station 432. So you can see we made some payments in the fourth quarter, and those are the balances. Questions about that one? All right, the last report that you have in here is just the annual report, which kind of is repetitive, or the fourth quarter report, which is a bit repetitive of the report that you guys received at the first meeting, which was, the position of all of our investments. So you can see for the fourth quarter, interest earned for Vernon Township, $13,330.97. And the fire territories earned $27,316.69. The average yield is 3.9385. That was a really lovely above 5 number when we started investing in West Indiana, but it's still much higher than the interest we would earn as a regular checking or savings. So.
So we do need a vote on all three for the fourth quarter. vote to,
I make the motion that we accept the fourth quarter financials as presented.
On this.
In the debt report and investment report.
yes.
Debt report and investment report as presented as well.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. We approve the financial reports for the fourth quarter, the debt report for the year, and the investment report for the year. All in favor, and it was properly seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same. Carried. I will assume you went.
Yes,
I didn't agree with it.
your hearing's better than mine.
I would probably should note, and I think we mentioned this after the audit, that we were asked to take the station payments out of Gateway because technically their feeling is that that belongs to the building corporation. We pay for it though, so our feeling is we want to be as transparent as possible, and that seems a little shady. So we report everything that we are paying.
Do we
So-
transfer funds to make those payments or
No.
it just comes out of that building fund, right?
Well,
Yeah.
correct. I mean, the tax distribution comes to the township. The
Mhm.
township makes the payments.
Mm-hmm.
The building corporation owns the building,
Yeah.
but you know, the tax monies flow through the township. They don't flow through the building corporation, so.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we feel like it's appropriate that and so with your permission, we will continue to do it this way,
Mhm.
even though we are not.
Even though
doing it.
Gateway doesn't show it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, and if you look in Gateway and you're like, where are the station payments? Now you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the last financial report then, or sorry, the debt schedule, this doesn't show up in Gateway. Okay.
Does not.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were showing it there,
Mhm.
right, up until this year, and through the audit process, they were like, nope, it's a lease, it's not a debt. It needs to be
Okay.
recognized that way. Now, there is a leases section in the annual financial report where you report that information as well, so,
So they're saying it's a CapEx, not a.
yeah.
Next, financial and administration, ASR and TA7.
All right, so you've got this lengthy annual financial report in front of you. I apologize, I probably should have said it in advance so you would have had time to review it all, so I will give you some time to look at it. You know, if you kind of go through it, for those of you that have been through this multiple times, you know, you've got this cash and investment statement is always the front page. It tells you the cash position at the beginning of 2025, the cash position at the end of 2025 for each of the fund types in total for the township. There, you will notice under 9999, which is payroll deductions, oftentimes that number is zero because your ins and outs are equal to each other. In this case, we had an unusual thing that happened. Our 1-2 payroll for 2026 ended up coming out in 2025. So because it was recognized at 12/31 when we remitted it. So we've got some deductions that we have yet to capture from the employees because they came on additional payrolls in 2026. So in the January timeframe. So that's the only one that is a little bit different than you may be used to seeing. Oftentimes that number is zero, but this one equals the deductions that are still outstanding for the payroll for January. Our Parks and Recreation Fund has a healthy $17.86. That was a fund that was intended to be retired. I don't think, I forget how many years it takes, 2 years.
I think we can do a dormant fund sometime this year and you can just roll it into something else you want to use it for.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I think the deep antique language is it goes to the school debt fund. So if the school wants $17 to put toward a bond, I suppose.
so, yeah, so there's just a little bit of, you know, a little bit left in that. So the preceding pages go through the details of receipts, the details of disbursements. So if you have anything in particular where you have questions, let me know. as you review this. Then you get into who we dispersed all the funds to by vendor. That's in this report as well, so you can see all of that information.
I think we talked about this last month, but what was special fire debt? Is that the Quint?
No, special fire debt is the station. Yeah,
Okay.
that's station 432. Because that debt was taken out underneath the once the territory was formed.
Mhm.
The original station is township debt because it was, they went to that bond before the territory was formed, so it is in two different funds for
Okay.
that reason. And once once 431 pays off in 2029, then we will no longer be able to have anything in that township debt fund anymore that is related to the station
Should have a surplus. We should have a last gasp of
monies.
the catch-up money, because we're kind of a year behind, so.
Yes,
So your loan to yourself will be repaid.
thank goodness, finally.
And so where, the previous trustee did not file the debt levy on the first station.
Yeah,
And that's why there is this arrears situation with collecting the debt. So we will get it. We just get 1 year, a year late. And there was no appeal process for it.
good.
It's long. It's really long.
And you got them all in here.
We pay a lot of vendors.
Yeah.
We should mention when you get back to page 32, the TA7 report. And so this is the breakdown on township assistance.
Yes, well, and just so you know, there were some modifications that I incorporated today, so that's why it goes a different direction than the rest of. So rather than reprint or try to just print those particular pages, the TA7 is essentially going a portrait where everything else is landscape, so. The final report, which Flory has over there somewhere, is all correct, but all going the right way, but. At that point in time, I was like, I'm just inserting these pages.
I'm just looking at the big expenditure. So what's under, I guess it's the general fund? The fire protection contracts, is that actually our payroll?
No, so the township has made a commitment to, and it was part of the original, well, I guess part of the original formation of the fire territory.
Okay,
The township made a commitment of lit monies to support the fire territory.
okay,
So that is a transfer that the township makes to the fire territory general fund
okay.
annually from the lit dollars received. Because the township is the only one that can receive the lit, so.
And so, and you may have heard us talk about our concerns about we may see a reduction in that lit when SE1 goes into effect and the county sets the lit rate. So we're working on our overall plan for what will happen at that point. Because it's a substantial additional, the monies are on top of what the interlocal commits the township to.
That's a big piece.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, we do need to certify.
Well, let's go through, can we talk about the income? I want to talk through the encumbrances as well before they certify the AR. Or no, you're fine. I just, yes.
Thank you.
And the TA7 basically just gives you an overview of the monies distributed to township assistants through the different pieces, which we've already really talked about as we went through the budget, but, you know, this also captures non-township funded services. So if we make a referral to another agency outside of the township and they commit monies towards helping with rent or utilities, we capture that in here because that is the direct work of the township to get those people connected to other resources.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Does that come along?
Yeah. So the township, from a township assistance perspective, the township has limitations as to what we can and cannot help with. So we can't ever pay late fees. We can't pay, like if somebody gets disconnected and there's a reconnect fee, can't pay the reconnect fee. We can't help if they get, like they go to court and they have court fees over, you know, their eviction. We can't pay for those. So oftentimes we'll reach to other partner agencies. You know, if we feel like the circumstance is such that, you know, these people are, you know, we need to help get them back on their feet, we'll reach to other partner agencies and ask them to help support that. So,
Okay.
So Love Inc., Salvation Army, Women Helping Women. There's probably about 15 different groups that we work closely with. And then there are many others that we might work with on a more one-on-one basis based on whatever the situation is.
Wow, no idea.
We didn't either when we started. It's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
okay, so as part of the acceptance of the annual financial report, there is this secondary report that reports the encumbrances that the township will be moving forward from 2025 to 2026. So as we discussed, $185,000 for two Jacoby Legacy Farms for the purchase of the land for station. We're gonna call it 433, but you know. Like I mentioned, 6,008,908 for the Quint for Setfin. That will, combined with the additional encumbrance from 2024, will make that entire project whole. We have at the end of November, we committed to a piece of a training equipment, or what would you call that thing? The tailored.
Training equipment.
Yeah, it's like a big training prop that will do like roof ventilation scenarios and a lot of other different things. So that project, we are holding $62,849 for Mission Mechanical for the repair of the HVAC at Station 431. More on that to come in a little bit. And then $7,550 to Plaid Tech. We are making an upgrade to all of our door access controls for both stations, along with we were contracted with Cloud Apt, which is the company that does all of our managed Wi-Fi services. And since bringing NOAA on, he's able to maintain and manage all of that equipment in-house. So we don't need to continue forward with contracting with them, but we do have to upgrade some equipment, especially at Station 431, because that equipment was, you know, put in 2019. So most of the card readers there are fairly well outdated, and they don't have quite the functionality and capability that we can, you know, we can't put a PIN code in there. There's several different things. So that is just the installation of that equipment. So he's going to do all of that. His company is. So on the second page, I am asking for an authorization of one transfer under the township general fund. It's an amount of $7,508.54 to be moved from personnel services to contractual services.
That was to pay a third party.
Yeah, it was just, we had a little bit more in contractual services this year than what we really anticipated.
Okay.
So. And we had money in the personnel budget that was unspent, so. But that is required for the township board to authorize that. Are there any questions about anything?
No. Okay, so Jeff, we need separate votes on the AFR, the encumbrances and the transfers?
AFR and the encumbrances are separate. Why don't you just go ahead and do all three separate and just motion, second vote, motion, second vote, motion, second vote, and then you need to leave with the trustee tonight the certification so she can turn all this in before the 17th.
TA7 need to be separate too.
I think the TA7 is a subpart of the AFR.
It is, it's a subpart of the AFR, so it should not have to be certified.
I'll make a motion that we approve the annual financial report with the TA7 form as written.
I second.
Motion been made, the second, we approve the AFR and the TA7. It's been seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Carried 3-0.
I move that we improve the encumbrances and transfers report.
I second.
Motion been made and seconded, we approve the 2025 or 2026 encumbrances and transfers. It's been properly seconded, all in favor say aye.
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 2025 encumbrances and transfers, yes. Right, and
Annual donation report.
yep, the last thing we got was this one.
Let's go ahead and.
We can do this later.
And Tim has two places, yes, yeah, which I think we did wrong last year, so. Want to make sure to get that right, so we don't have to chase him down again.
Stacy never forgets.
Mind of an elephant.
Not really.
No,
Once
I
you make
always
that
want-
mistake, you don't want to do that again.
I see, it's the pain.
Can I use your weapon?
And then right under 10.
Lori grab it.
Hold your hand out like
Nobody
this.
forgets. Long memories here.
My cat hand, she reaches for it.
I'm a pen thief, in case you didn't know. that.
Oh, you are.
I am. Right here, right under Mary Beth, that it was received, accepted, and approved.
Bingo.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So you've got this spreadsheet in front of you as well. This is basically the donation fund is a home rule fund. It is not within the funds that you would see on the AFR. So we present this to you separately for that reason. Did I not give you one, Tim?
No,
Oops, sorry.
Here you go.
unless it's buried down
Here,
here.
It's probably buried.
And I've got it right here.
It just didn't get out. So as you can see, this is the donor over here on the left-hand side in the column, or where the expenditure was made from. These are the different, I break these down into multiple categories, simply because like the community garden, those who pay for plot fees, they don't need to, their monies should be used to support the community garden going forward. So we had two really kind of special funds that were new this year. One was the community garden in memoriam. And so that currently has $575 in it, and that is in honor of Mary Beth's mother. And then there is a VTFD in memory of Kay Johnson fund that has been established separately, but it resides within the fire department's donation fund. And that fund currently has $3,760 in it. The intention of that fund, as we have discussed with the family, is they would like to scholarship EMT students with that money. So they are continuing to collect money in his memory and are intending to use that. So I think we've had a discussion amongst the leadership team for the fire department. We will likely not be running an EMT class this year, just bringing on 8 new hires and trying to get those kind of things done. But we're talking about something for 2027. So that money will go a really long way, and the family will sit on the committee, or we'll designate the committee members to help select those recipients of that scholarship. So. Yeah. Any questions about the donation fund?
Print bigger print next year.
You and me both. You noticed
Right.
that I had to look at this and go 3,000 or bring my cheater glasses apparently.
Those
So,
are new glasses, and I gotta concentrate on focusing in on that small print.
Does this need a motion?
No, we have a policy that we report on it each year just to make sure that there's complete transparency to the board what's been collected.
Okay.
yeah, and since it resides outside the AFR, we just want you to know that there's additional monies that are,
If it's a dedicated donation, you don't see it again. It's not appropriated. If it's a general donation, it'll show up at budget time again or an additional appropriation. But for the ones where it's directed to the garden, it's pre-appropriated by the donor.
Okay.
all right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Next up is legal. First one is with claim deed.
We have a quick claim deed. We were contacted by the town. This goes back to when we donated the parks and there was a gap in the legal description. I did not have the benefit of a surveyor or title work at the time. I was just doing my own amateur or semi-amateur abstracting with the recorder, and they let us know that there was a title and encumbrance report and that there was a gap in the description. So you've already authorized this. This is just corrective. I have sent this to their right-of-way consultant. He said, yep, that looks great. Sign it, send it over to him. So it's just a cleanup.
We didn't need a voter or nothing.
You don't really need a vote. If you want to vote to do it, why don't we go ahead and vote to do it for the purposes of the minutes, and then I don't recall exactly how it is set up for signature, if it's you and Mary Beth or you and Flory, I don't remember.
It says Mary Beth
It's
and
got
Tim.
Mary Beth, but you want to line through that?
Yeah, it
as
says she's
secretary.
the secretary. Is that because she was the
She
secretary?
was the secretary.
No.
If you want to line through it and put your name in, that's fine.
Okay. I move that we approve the quitclaim deed for the gap in survey at the McCordsville Park.
I second.
Motion been made, second, we approve the quit claim deed with the town of McCordsville for the park. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries 3-0.
Jeff, so we have a notary in our office, Jenny Krieger. Can I notarize this with my seal?
If you have a seal, you may notarize it, or Jenny can notarize it. Everything is pretty digital now. If we hold the wet copy, that'd be fine, and then send me a scan and I'll give it to their vendor, because it's all kind of going
Okay.
with the vendor rather than directly with the town.
I do have the seal, so we will have, okay.
And you can send that to me Friday. We're busy.
We are busy.
Yeah,
She needs to sign up.
yeah. Send that back to
Sit back.
Rowan.
I'm gonna make sure she signs up, so she makes sure we sign up.
I know. I appreciate that, Tim. Thank you.
Hover,
Give
you
me
need
a
a hover on her, Tim.
You gotta keep her in
You
line.
need to borrow my pen to do it.
Nope, because I'll never get it back.
I got a chain on it.
All three of you
Is
things.
it clipped to your belt?
If you start signing in green, I'll know something's up.
Mediation update.
I was foreshadowing a little bit tomorrow morning. Depending on how long this meeting goes, tomorrow morning, the three of us are gonna get back together at the mediator's office, Flory, Stacy, and I. And we will be mediating with Pete Schroeder. Pete is a well-regarded construction mediator on issues pertaining to the station that you've been involved with for a couple of years. And it will be a mediation with us, the mediator, and Access, the original architects, their sub-architect Circle, which was called Inverity at the time, and Verity designed the HVAC system, and then Envoy, the construction management advisor. So we've kind of memoed it up for Pete. Pete has it, and we will be starting at 9. And if we're, I hate to say this for the two of them, but in my experience, if we're done before lunch, it didn't go very well. There is kind of a sense in mediation where it just kind of goes till about 3:30 and everybody starts thinking about what they're supposed to do at 5:30 or 6, or start getting hungry or whatever. And then moves are made because you don't want to lose the day, but that's just how they go.
Been there, done that.
So I'm optimistic, we've spent a lot of time on it. We've made our position known, and we're gonna have a good mediator go to work on everybody, and hopefully we bring back something meaningful. If not, then we'll do the next thing. And we're not bound to resolve with both, and we can resolve with one and not the other. We're gonna see what the day brings.
Can you share what the value of the claim is?
We have an estimation of the claim in the 155 range.
Okay.
Any mediator will tell you, and I used to be a certified mediator. I did it in law school. There's nothing less valuable than a brand new lawyer that's a mediator. You don't know what anything's worth. Just generally speaking, any mediator will tell you if everybody walks out a little sore, a little sour, it all went right. But good things about the case, bad things about the case, to the credit of Stacy, who's done an incredible job of being my exterior hard drive on what happened, where's it all, how is this, and then just for his diligence. We're well supported. The bad part is that I don't think we'd ever gotten here had this been done under their watch. And we're all taking over from issues that came from prior administration, and the thought probably was that it was some savings.
Yeah.
And probably not the way it'll ever be done here again. So,
It's why we went with the bot on the.
and it's a reason why
Yeah.
the BOTs are quite popular. So we'll go and see what they want to do and how much risk and fire they feel, and listen to the mediator. Pete's very good. Pete's a amateur wrestling official, so sometimes he mediates and sometimes he officiates. So
It's appropriate. Those are the
it's
same kind of
extraordinary.
class.
It's extraordinary.
Take it down.
Wrestling and mediating. Okay, thank you for sharing.
Sure.
And then our final item on legal is the farm resolution. So each year we need permission to do the contract with farm.
So we need a motion to pass the resolution.
Yes.
Does it have a number on it? We need to call out a number.
As soon as Mary Beth gives it to me.
Oh,
I can never remember the order, but I mean,
It is the 11th, correct?
It is.
Yep.
number will be 2026-2-11A.
Okay. I move that we approve resolution number 2026-2-11A. The farm nonprofit entity.
I second.
Motion been made and seconded. We approve resolution 2026-2-11A, which is a resolution of the Township Board of Vernon Township in Hancock County, permitting contract with Fortville Area Resource Mission known as FARM.
In the amount of
In the amount of
$7,500.
$7,500 for the year 2026. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, the same. Carries 3-0. Next up, fire chief report. Front and center, young man.
Good evening. Normally I would have the written annual report for you. I think I've shared with this group as well, the territory board, last year at the national level, they switched what was called NINFIRST or National Fire Incident Reporting System. Tim, you probably remember that, to something new called NIRS. And because of that, our vendor that we use, a lot of the pre-made reports that are in the system are not working correctly. So now we're having to go in and dig for the data, which we found all the data now. We just haven't finalized it in format. But what I can tell you is that obviously our runs are up. The total call volume for last year was a 10.5% increase in total runs. Of that, our EMS calls went up 14.6%. The number of crashes that we had went up 19%, and that's just crashes with injuries that we responded to. That's not including what the police departments respond to that don't involve injuries. The only consistency in our data is that there is really no consistency. And what I mean by that, the day of the week has changed. Our busiest day of the week from 24 to 25 has changed. Our busiest months have changed. The hours of the day have stayed, obviously during the daytime is our busiest, but those have even changed a little bit. So I'll get all this finalized and send it to you. But yeah, the biggest consistency is that there is no consistency and that the runs are going up. The number of simultaneous calls are going up. 21% of our calls involve more than one run at a time, and sometimes that is 3 runs or 4 runs at a time that we're responding to. Interesting, the one thing that is consistent since the beginning of 2019 and with the population numbers is that with the calls, divide the calls by the population, is that we respond to 0.09 calls per person.
Really?
So, yeah. So we can use that going forward, that if, they're planning a however many person increase in population, we can take that number times it by 0.09 and figure that that's going to be that many more runs that we're going to have to respond to per year. So I was kind of surprised to find that out, because if you'll remember, we gave up an entire township inside of Madison County. It still stayed pretty consistent at that 0.09. So, what's that?
I just, like, if they approve 250 unit subdivision, you just math that up.
250 times 3 people per unit times, that's 750 times 0.09, 600. Yes.
That's pretty good.
That's interesting though. I mean, like, when you think about it, I mean, that has never changed.
That it's
No,
that consistent.
it stayed consistent. So
That's crazy.
you guys know I'm the kind of the data nerd.
I know.
That's how we plan, though, that I can come to you guys and say, this is what we need and here's why and here's the data to prove it. So
I think that'd be a good stat for the towns to have, because
Oh.
annexation fiscal reports.
it will be in my annual report.
Perfect, because it seems like that's a shortfall.
It was, I wanted a couple years to be able to prove that and to have some good population numbers to base that on. So we've got that now.
Good.
We're in the process of hiring 6 new positions, thankfully, that we got the growth peel. And then we had the 2 replacement positions from when we lost one person to South Madison and we lost one person to Indianapolis Fire Department. So we're this close. We're waiting on the physical results from one person, and then I just received a acceptance of a conditional offer today from another lateral transfer. So actually, we had 5 people that lateral transferred to our agency from other career agencies. So I'm very proud to say that. I'm not proud that we're taking people from other agencies, because I hate it when it happens to us. But I'm also happy that we're becoming an agency that people want to come to. So. The biggest thing, for last year, we had 2 major accomplishments last year. Maybe 3, handling the run load, but we implemented the whole blood program since its implementation. And this includes some of the data a little bit from this year, but we've administered that to 7 patients just since September. 7 patients. I would have never thought that. I mean, we were thinking
I think Kylie said she thought they would do 4 annually.
Yeah, 4 annually, and then, so what, 6 months, 5 months? We've administered it to 7 patients. All of those have been within Vernon Township with the exception of 1. All of them have been within Hancock County. So kudos to her and the 3 individuals that set that up in record time, because it has made a difference. I mean, you always wonder, have you saved lives on these calls? That blood program has saved lives. So kudos to them. And then we implemented the drone program, which was no cost to the taxpayers. That was a grant through 9 Star, and that has helped. We've helped our police departments help find lost people, missing people. We've not had to use it on a fire yet, but it's coming. And that's, I'll end up, so far for this year, we've had 2 working structure fires, just since January. So both of them residential. One was a garage fire. We believe it was due to an outlet that was installed after the house was built. Probably don't know who installed it. That's up for the insurance companies to handle. But then the fire this past weekend, it started up in the attic, and it was just old wiring from a very old house that, I mean, they still had knob and tube wiring they found up in the attic. So
See, they got a dumpster sitting down there now.
yeah. That was a house actually that's owned by the town now. I think they're getting ready to tear it down anywhere or something. I don't know that for sure, but it's not. So that it did start up in the attic and
By the round barn? Is it by the
No.
round barn?
Behind Speedway.
behind the speedway. They're on 600.
That's part of the widening project that
Probably.
one of the houses they was gonna buy.
Okay.
So I hope to have all this into a final format. It will be in a final format before next week because we present to the town of Fortville. But I'm hoping it's just been a delay because of software changes, and to be honest with you, the hiring of these people is taking a little bit longer because we've had some not make it through the entire process. So I've had to start over a couple times. So any questions?
How long does it take to get somebody hired, like from notice to?
I hate to say that, it does really depend. It's not just a generic answer. If they're a lateral transfer, it's pretty quick
Okay.
because they're already in the system. So if they get annual physicals at their department, we don't send them for a physical because they're already getting it done. That's a very quick turnaround. But if there's somebody brand new that's not in the pension system, they have to have a ladder climb to test for fear of heights. Then they have to go for a pension physical, and that takes a whole day. And then takes probably 2.5 weeks to get those results back. And that's not just a medical physical, but it's also a psychological exam. And those are all based on state standards. We get that report back, and then we have to send it to the state. And it takes the state a week to 2 to review it. So
Did you say like 3 months from?
no, that's probably a little long. Maybe a month and a half to 2 months. But that's just after we get done with the process. The process itself takes quite a while. The hiring process itself.
It's similar to what police do, right? Same-
Depending on the police department, we're under a merit system now, so it's a little bit more rigid,
Okay.
a lot more criteria that we have to follow.
Their testing started in, was it August?
We started accepting applications in August. I believe the written test was either late August or early September. Then they had to do an oral interview.
It's like 6 months.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah, yeah, it's long, you know?
I saw your report said somebody had accepted another position kind of at the goal line, and that you put 6 months into that person perceivably. That's probably what can we do to save that from happening?
Yeah. Well, and I think I think anybody would attest, when they were here for the testing, a lot of these people know each other.
Oh, did
Oh, yeah.
Because they are going through processes at multiple departments, hoping that they're going to get on a list and be, towards the top so they can get hired somewhere.
I've had 2 people on our current list that I've called up and said, "Oh, I've moved on. I've been hired by this agency.
Oh, wow.
And we even had people drop out during our process
Because they got hired.
because they got hired. So it's a very tight market anymore. It's not like, I'm an old guy now. I mean, when I went through the hiring process back in 1991, I had 400 people I was competing against. Today, we had 100 people sign up. I think we had 50 or 60 show up to take the written test.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we ended up with a roster, a list of 30 plus people. So it's not like it was.
Right. Wow.
Not everybody's wanting to be firefighter, paramedics, firefighter, EMTs anymore.
We'll just talk about the med bill presentation. Do you want to
Okay.
talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
MedBill presents to us every year in March. They will be here at the Fire Territory Board meeting next month. March, I don't have that still,
16th.
March 16th, thank you, at 9 a.m. We'll be here. And they go over our collection rates from 2025 and projections for the following year or this year and how we're doing comparable.
We have always opened that up to the township board to attend, both that and the review of the capital plan, because the fire territory budget is such a significant portion of our budget. And the EMS fees are not inconsequential. So
I think it actually might be the 23rd.
isn't it the third Monday?
Yeah, and that is, oh, no, you're right, it is. I think we've
Yes.
got it wrong on the schedule then.
2nd, 9th, and 16th? Is that right? I will send out a notice and, yeah.
Punch it in.
Because I have it on my calendar as the 23rd, but I understand when you're counting.
Yeah,
Is it the third Monday or the fourth Monday
It's the
now?
fourth month.
The fourth Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It is the 23rd.
Oh, because we moved it.
It's the 23rd.
Yeah, we moved, okay, we moved it.
It is the 23rd.
It is the 23rd.
Yeah, you all should have invites on your calendar.
Yeah,
I sent those out earlier this year.
it's on the calendar too.
Hopefully not on the wrong day, Mary Beth.
Do we also want to get the update on the Veterans Administration reimbursements?
So we've had some challenges with the VA receiving payments from them. The update is we are getting payments, which is good. We don't yet believe we have received the payments that they kept rejecting. So we have still some work to do to get the rejected payments from 2025 back to us, but we did start receiving payments, which was a good thing. So whatever was wrong in their system, I don't believe it was ever us necessarily that was the problem, because we really didn't change anything. One day we were receiving payments and then one day we just stopped receiving them. So, but yes, we're hopefully back on track.
Was it like government shutdown related stuff?
No.
No, they kept saying that there was some sort of disconnect or some sort of issue because they go by the, what's it called?
Sam's.
The sam.gov, and they kept saying there was something wrong with our sam.gov account. And Lori went in no less than probably half a dozen times to try to correct whatever they kept saying was wrong.
And I made everybody else come and look at it to make sure that it wasn't me, because I started to think I was losing it, but
I said, let's make a video.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was an effort and frustration.
Yeah, but so we have started receiving payments, so that's a good thing. So, and now I'm not certain why, because if you actually look at what their documents say, they will remit by check if their electronic payments fail. So I'm not sure whether we're waiting on a check or whether we're just waiting on them to resend those payments. But I'm actively working with our contact at MedBill to stay on top of that. So because we want to make sure we get those.
And then final item on fire, Jeff, do you want to talk about the property purchase update where we're at?
We've made quite a bit of progress. I've been in correspondence with the Jacoby's attorney. We've not been able to do any field work up until here, just the ground's been covered, but the surveyor contacted me and said, hey, did you look at the right of ways out here? I'm like, oh, no, that's what you're for. And then I asked him while we were on the phone, while you're looking at right of ways, are there any preliminary setbacks? And he said, oh yeah. So he looked, you're gonna lose 100 feet off of the center line from both of those county roads. And then he also identified a legal ditch, or illegal drain, and that's another 75 feet, but that's on a little corner. That's not gonna matter. So as these three will attest, I created several of the worst looking beacon, exhibits, but just to show, here's 100 feet and here's 100 feet, and we're negotiating for 3.5 acre. And so when you lay off 100 feet off of each dimension, it gets to be a very long, narrow piece of ground. And so we talked, did the math. I contacted the Jacobys and said, hey, we're 3.5 acres plus or minus. To me, as an attorney, plus or minus is a tenth up or down, not, it's on the right side of the decimal, not the left side of the decimal. And showed her, Mark shared, how much real depth do we have to have a pull through? Probably another 70 feet. Shared with them what we're looking at, made them another exhibit. And she said, that's fine. They asked for a favor on doing a little extra field work of just identifying some points in their field. No problem. We agreed to that, but I've got a message out to her to say, hey, confirm. Once they confirm, we're gonna send Crossroads out and get the field work done. So it's just taking a little longer because the parcel does not exist. We're making a parcel, we're cutting it off that corner, but it's probably best, it would have been a bad thing because we were originally at 3.2 acre. I mean, if it was 3.2, and I think even the first meeting last year was like 2.5, and like, you've got an acre and a half in right of way and setback. I mean, so I think it's gonna be plenty of ground. Mark even suggested, and we dropped a footprint of the Garmong station on there. And so we're just waiting for her to say she agrees, and then we're gonna send the surveyor out and off we go.
So she did call me on Monday and said to move forward.
Mrs. Jacoby did.
Mrs. Jacoby.
I'm wanting the lawyer to write me back and to write me and say, we agree. I'm not gonna do an amendment, but I want her to say they agree to those two things. So, making progress.
Good. It's gonna be a busy station one of these days.
One of those days, yes, sir.
Yes, it will. And that's one thing I did forget. The busiest area of the township is still the western third, the McCordsville area, and then the Old Town Fortville. Those are by far our busiest areas, so.
Next up, property repair updates.
I mentioned earlier the McCordsville Cemetery fence, and also want you to know that the Gilliam Chapel flagpole, and that's the cemetery that is just north of the railroad tracks in McCordsville. The flagpole is broken, and we've had problems with it for several years, and now it is just broken.
I got their estimate today and I am seeking a second estimate.
Oh,
I was like, ooh, that's a lot of money for a flagpole. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get at least one more.
it is the,
How tall is that?
I think it's 20 foot. So it's
My
tall.
husband maybe could put one up.
it's a telescoping
Yeah.
one because we had so many problems with the ropes freezing. But the telescoping ones, if they're broken, they can come down on top of you.
Yeah.
And I ask how I know that. So anyway, yeah.
Well, they make some good ones. Telescoping. Mine's telescoping. It's been out there with some big winds. It went through a tornado.
Our
Never
others
bothered
have
it.
our others are fine. It's just that one is, I think there's something.
And you
something
said it's
broken.
telescoping?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think we would be agreeable to have, the one with the halyard and the rope and everything like that, as long as we can maintain and keep the rope so that we don't have issues with it.
Yeah.
But because the telescoping one, while it seems great, it is, once you get down to that last section that needs to be raised to make it, be up to its full height, that last section is incredibly heavy.
Yes.
And difficult, on this one, difficult to maneuver and get in place. So I don't know if it's just the brand or the type of pole that it is, but yeah.
The concept
Mine's
seemed
20
really
foot.
good.
Even my back shoulders.
Maybe I need to come to your house and see what kind you have. Figure out where you got it from.
State Fair.
Hmm.
They're in a manufacturer's building. what it used to be in the manufacturing building. It's not there no more, so.
Hmm.
I'm sure they's at the flower and patio show.
Mm.
Or they'll be at the flower and patio show. I'm sure they's at the home show.
And I'll be there. I'm working at it, so I can look.
Yeah, if you don't mind, because this is the same company. I went back for the estimate with the same company that originally installed the flagpole. And I believe with removal and adding and putting the new pole in, the estimate came back in like $3,600 or $3,800.
Oh, that's-
So,
that's probably right
see,
on it.
I was like,
I was gonna say 3,500.
does that?
So you would?
Yes.
I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a good price or
It's- I
a
mean,
bad
that's-
price. I was like.
No, I think it's actually a good price.
Okay.
Based on commercial
Yeah.
related stuff.
So, yeah, and I didn't even know if another company existed, so I Google searched and found another company and I reached out to them, but haven't heard back yet, so,
I think the whole thing is finding somebody that will install it.
yes.
Because you got a lot of people that'll sell you a flagpole, but nobody wants to put it in.
All right.
Sarah Grant report.
So we received a grant from the Department of Agriculture last year. It's a 2-year grant. We have a report that is due on the 15th, and I thought I was gonna give it to you tonight, but that was just way too optimistic thinking with everything that's happened down at the legislature. So it will be coming and it will be emailed to you. We've talked a lot about what we've done with the Junior Green Thumb program and the partnership with Farm, and it will just lay it out in greater detail. And you'll hear plenty about it over the next few weeks. Do you want me to go into public programming?
Sure.
Okay, this is just to let you know, some of the things that are happening over in this space and at the garden. The 2 new ones that are up for consideration are the first one and the last one. The first one being the farmer's market. So there has been a farmer's market in Fortville, and they are looking for a new home. We will be bringing more details and options for you to look at. They're looking at June through October.
Who's in
And
charge of that now?
that's part of the question of, I think what needs to be resolved. There is right now a group, like a task force that has been formed, and several of the vendors and Tanya Davis asked me if we would look at it. So we are meeting with them first on Friday and then again next week, and we'll be bringing that back, but I wanted to give you a heads up on that. The final item is the request to be a polling location, both for the primary and for the general election. And during the caucus, many people looked at this location and said, oh, this would be a huge improvement over our other options. Lisa Lofgren did officially ask me on Saturday if we would be willing to consider it. And so I just wanted to put it to the board for approval.
Do they have to lock the room for a week or something?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Mhm.
They said they're gonna send over all the specifications and all the details of the timing and
Everything's locked up.
That's what I was thinking, that as long as you can do without the room for 2 weeks, if there's regular events in here.
Well, they lock all the equipment up
Oh, in that separate
and the
closet or something.
ballot, so I don't know.
In McCordsville, they get locked out of the council room
Yeah,
for
would we
whatever
be able
that
to lock
term is.
everything in the small meeting room?
I don't know the door has a lock on it, but. I don't think it do.
I don't think any of these doors have locks on them, if I'm being honest. Well, I don't know,
Well,
those
they
have
have-
bars on them, you can
they
probably.
have big cases. Everything gets locked inside of that.
And those are locked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you probably won't be able to use the room. I don't know. That's something to ask Lisa.
Yeah,
So once we get the schedule and the details, we'll sit down and we'll,
They're voting
We'll
on
look
that next week,
okay.
the dates.
So I have not received those, but I wanted to make sure that as a board, we were open to it. Meetings and trainings, Chief and I will go for the town council meetings as we do every year to do the year in review and walk through the close of the town councils, and just so everyone's aware, this is because of our fire territory agreement with the two towns. And so it is just part of the process that we've adopted, and I think it goes quite well. And then we will go back again in early summer to walk through the proposed budget for the fire territory. On April 22nd, there will be the Indiana Township Assistance training, and on August 5th, there will be the ITA Public Safety Day. And so we will be participating in those. October 7th through the 9th will be the ITA conference, and the board is always invited to come and participate. They have sessions that are specifically for board members, and I think it's a great opportunity to just learn more about not just how we run townships, but also opportunities to make improvements and engage.
What is the ITA Public Safety Day? Is that something new?
That's the one we started last year, and it brings together professional fire, the Indiana Chiefs, ITA, and volunteers, and all of those associations.
Oh, yeah.
And
He had something to do with it last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I planned it. And Mark spoke because he was voluntold. And that's not true. He volunteered.
He's ignoring you.
I know.
Oh, no, I'm
He
listening.
always does. No, but we're really working to try and coordinate efforts and make sure that we're having meaningful discussions about where we want to go and how we want to evolve. So much like we do for township government, is really to focus on that specialization for fire that is specific to Indiana and the way we do it here. So, and it was very well attended and it got very good reviews. So and actually down at the State House, we've got a lot of questions about when are we doing that again? And so we're actually moving it up from the November schedule.
Been asked, people keep talking about how much they like the last one, and I keep getting asked, when's the next one?
Yep.
So,
Now you know, August 5th.
on the calendar.
August 5th. And the details of this one will be coming, but I suspect it will be an evolution of the district and territory discussion we had last year, and
Already got ideas. And not the insurance guy.
do you want me to, under new business, talk about the legislation?
Sure. That's what this is.
It is, so there's a press release. So I have to say thank you to the whole team for here because I have been gone a lot down at the State House with the biggest focus on there are two bills that are, I should say that were in play. I'm not even going to talk about House Bill 1315 because really it looks like it's not going to move any further. Senate Bill 270 is the bill that brought together ITA, Farm Bureau, and volunteer firefighters. And the focus is really on a matrix that identifies townships that are either underperforming or townships that do not have the resources to do the job they need to do. And it forces elimination, it forces mergers for those townships. Vernon Township was not in consideration in either of these bills. We we are unlikely to see anything change in terms of we will not be required to merge no matter what happens on these. So
This is just the first step of doing away with townships.
it is certainly the approach that many want. What was voiced today was that the Senate does not have a stomach for elimination and is not interested in elimination now or in the future. There is a lot of interest in elimination in the House. So we'll see, things can always change, and every year it's sausage making in terms
So
of,
say, I think they were talking about this 20 years ago.
they have
eliminating
Oh,
for
townships, yeah.
20 years. So if this goes through, this would be the first time that that a bill would actually have been
Other than
successful.
the voluntary merger statute from 15 years ago, and that's still around.
So who would assess whether the townships are performing in that environment?
So the Department of Local Government Finance will take this point system. And they have been evaluating the metrics that have been laid out. And determining, so there is already a list that identifies how many points townships would get. We
Is
would
it,
not
is it
get-
somehow tied to that annual report that we file? or-
It's tied partially to the TA7 and in terms of if a township is not providing any township assistance or if they've gotten less than 24 requests a year.
Okay,
And on the fire side, it's a question of, are you the provider of
okay.
fire? And we are very clearly the provider of fire.
Yep.
And then there's a whole series of other ones, and there may be some additions made to those. But it looks like they will really fall into things like, do you go to State Board of Accounts training? Just for example, both Stacy and I go. We're only the trustee is required to go, but in almost every case, we send not just one, but as many as 4 people. And so I do not believe we will have any issues. It's, do you turn your budget in on time? Do you turn your AFR in? Do you, things that would seem to be very basic. Yeah. So I just wanted everybody to see what the core approach is on this, and just make sure you're aware of it if anybody asks any questions. The big question is, will Senate Bill 270 move forward with the support of the House? And we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're waiting for an amendment, and we'll see what happens.
When's that go before the House?
We don't know. We had a meeting tonight. That's where I was coming from. And so it has to happen soon, because I think they are looking to adjourn soon.
Yeah.
Do not want to be here in March. They don't really want to be here in February, but they definitely don't want to be here in March or in session in March.
So I just want to say thank you to our team, because they've given me the good grace to go down and spend a lot of time at the legislature. And it's not a fun place to be, but we think it's awfully important that we end up with quality, effective, and efficient townships. And there's 1,000 townships across the state, and this would probably merge about 1/3 of them.
Wow.
It is a lot. But there's a lot of, there's counties where, what do you think the most amount of townships in any state is? Or any county?
Oh, county?
Yeah.
12.
We have 8, don't we? 8 or
We
9.
have 9.
We got 9.
There are 21 in LaPorte.
Whoa.
So, I think now some of them have, 4? I think 4 is the smallest.
Yeah, Allen's got a lot. There are just so many little weird ones too that, whatever compromise was made, whatever crick went through or whatever, that's how they did stuff. And And so there's a lot that just geographically don't make a lot of sense. Think of my mother's county where her farm's at. They're just places where they're just few, if any, people. And we just not many folks.
I think the smallest township has 92 people.
Believe it.
Smaller than some of the farming families around here.
It is. So I think, on one hand, this is a major move to merge this many townships. It looks like the timeline would be up to 2029 would be the deadline. And they would work with the commissioners to figure out what the emerging patterns will be. So with the focus on where is fire at, who can provide the township assistance, making sure that it's well laid out. So
Very good.
that's all I've got.
Any other new business? Through the old business bills. Now, it's all been made. Next meeting is March 18th at 6:30 PM. For me, it's not March 17th, because I was here last night, but wasn't nobody here.
You just wanted to make sure everything was
I don't know
ready.
why I had it in my head. It was last night. And
I will
I was the
say,
only one here.
Did you come? You couldn't even get inside the building, could you?
But these lights were on.
Oh, well, there are emergency lights in here, so there are lights on here at all times, but.
we do often cancel the March meeting because the big focus is on what we're doing with MedBill and the capital plan.
Yeah.
So is anybody gonna be upset if we don't have a meeting in March?
I will if I show up. Nobody.
There you go.
I'll make sure that it gets sufficiently canceled on your calendar so that you don't show up if we're not gonna have one.
Being no further business, I'll adjourn the meeting at 7:59.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.